Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've recently arrived in Spain, you probably already know that navigating Spanish immigration bureaucracy can feel like trying to solve a giant puzzle in the dark. But today, we're turning the lights on. We're looking at a very specific, incredibly useful pathway to regularize your status through study, right after living in Spain for 2 years. It's called arraigo-socioformativo. In this explainer, we're skipping all the fluff and the theory detours. Instead, we're going to walk through a clear, no-nonsense, step-by-step blueprint based strictly on the official government guidelines, specifically the document known as OJA 30. We'll cover exactly what you need to study, the absolute critical deadlines you literally cannot afford to miss, and the exact paperwork you're going to need to gather to make this whole thing happen.
Okay, let's dive right into our agenda. We're going to cover 1. The 2-year study route, 2. Qualifying education options, 3. Strict deadlines and rules, 4. Step-by-step process, and finally, 5. Your application checklist.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the 2-year study route. We're going to start with the foundational requirements before getting into the heavy paperwork.
So what exactly is arraigo-socioformativo? Well, as defined by the official OJA 30 document, it's a residence permit granted on exceptional grounds. It's specifically designed for foreigners who have been living in Spain for 2 continuous years. But, and this is a big but, there's a super strict condition attached to that timeline. Your absences from Spain during those 2 years must be less than or equal to 90 days. Seriously, if you've left the country for 95 days, for example, boom, the clock resets. You also have to be enrolling in or currently taking regulated training, so it's an education-based route, pure and simple.
Now, I really need to highlight a crucial caveat right here so you don't accidentally miscalculate your qualifying time. Time spent as an applicant for international protection, asylum, does not count towards those 2 continuous years. This is a hard and fast rule from the source material. You absolutely must calculate your 2 years, excluding any time you held that specific applicant status.
Moving right along to Section 2, qualifying education options. Basically, what you can actually study.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing just how specific the government is about what actually counts. You might think any random Spanish class works. Actually, scratch that, it doesn't. You have exactly 3 qualifying educational routes. First, post-compulsory secondary education. This has to be full-time in an authorized center leading to a recognized title, for example, a bachillerato. Second, you can pursue Grade C professional certificates, specifically levels 1 through 3, or enroll in in-person adult education. Notice it says in-person, so remote learning here just won't cut it. And third, a commitment to training promoted by the Public Employment Service, known as SEPE. And this training must be specifically oriented toward hard-to-fill occupations. These are your only 3 lanes, folks. Pick the one that best fits your goals.
But here's the kicker. No matter which of those 3 education routes you choose, there's a mandatory baseline requirement you simply cannot skip: the Informe de Integración Social, or Social Integration Report. You've got to request this document from your local autonomous community, your CAA, or your local town hall, the ayuntamiento, right where you live. Honestly, think of this report as the absolute bedrock of your application. Without it, the education enrollment alone is not going to get you approved.
Okay, let's get into Section 3, strict deadlines and rules. We really need to help you avoid those critical pitfalls where applications usually fail.
Listen up, because one of the absolute biggest pitfalls is how you actually file. For arraigo-socioformativo, you are required to file your application in person at the Oficina de Extranjería, the immigration office of your province. And yes, you must have a cita previa, a prior appointment. What is strictly not allowed? Filing online. While tons of Spanish immigration procedures have moved to the online Mercurio system, OJA 30 makes it explicitly clear the online channel is not an option for this specific permit. No way around it. You must physically go to the office.
All right, let's look at how this builds your application clock, because you've got to be precise here. First, if your chosen study program has an official enrollment window, you must apply for your permit in the 2 months before that window opens. Once you've applied, you wait. The government has 3 months to make a decision. Keep in mind, if you hear absolutely nothing after 3 months, that silence equals a refusal. It's known as administrative silence. If you are approved, yay, congratulations! But hold on, the clock doesn't stop. You now have exactly 3 months to prove your enrollment to the immigration office. If you fail to prove you actually enrolled within that 3-month window, they can extinguish your permit entirely. Finally, once you prove enrollment, you have 1 month to personally apply for your physical ID card, the TI.
I really need to manage expectations clearly here. Unlike other types of residency, like arraigo-social or socio-laboral, OJA 30 does not mention a work permit for this arraigo-socioformativo route. Remember, this pathway is entirely 100% focused on education and training. So please, don't go into this process expecting it to immediately grant you the right to sign an employment contract.
All right, Section 4, Step-by-Step Process. This is your literal, actionable blueprint to apply.
So the crucial point is taking things one step at a time. Step 1, choose your qualifying formation. Either secure your spot or get your written SEPE commitment. Step 2, request that mandatory Enrolment integration social from your town hall. Step 3, gather your evidence. You're going to need proof of your 2 continuous years in Spain, things like your empadronamiento registry or your health records. You also need a perfectly clean criminal record check from Spain and from any country you've lived in over the last 5 years. Step 4, with all that in hand, present the official Form EX10 in person at your cita previa appointment.
And we're almost there. Step 5, you gotta pay the application fee. This is fee 790, code 052. And get this, you must do it within 10 working days of submitting your application. Step 6, the finish line. Once the permit is granted, remember that strict timeline we discussed earlier? You must prove your enrollment within 3 months to avoid cancellation, and then you have exactly 1 month to request your physical TIE card in person.
Finally, Section 5, your application checklist. Time to gather that paperwork. You might want to get ready to take a screenshot of this next slide.
Okay, here is your exact paperwork checklist, pulled directly from the official rules. First, the official Form EX10, filled out correctly. Second, proof that you paid fee 790 code 052, specifically under Epígrafe 2.3.1. Third, your proof of 2 continuous years in Spain. Again, the empadronamiento and health records are absolute gold for this. Fourth, your criminal record checks. And please note, records from outside Spain must be officially translated by a sworn translator and properly apostilled or legalized. Do not skip that step or they'll reject it. Fifth, your Enrolment integration social. And lastly, your proof of enrollment or your SEPE commitment.
So, what happens after all this? Well, this initial permit is valid for 1 year, but it's actually designed to be a bridge to your longer-term future in Spain. To renew it after that first year, you're going to need a report from your educational center certifying that you have successfully promoted to the 2nd year of your studies. Or, alternatively, if you finish the program, you can present your completed diploma or certificate alongside proof that you are actively searching for a job.
Just wrapping up with a quick mandatory reminder. What we've provided today is informational guidance to help you make sense of the system, not official legal advice. Immigration rules can be highly specific to your personal situation. We strongly encourage you to verify all the details directly at the official Spanish government portal, inclusion.gov.es. Yes, the bureaucracy is incredibly strict, but it is completely navigable if you just follow the blueprint. So you have the roadmap, you know the exact deadlines. The only question left is, which educational path are you going to choose to finally unlock your future in Spain? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer.
That was a quick overview. On our website you'll find step-by-step guides to many procedures, the padrón, the health card, the NIE, the TIE, legalization, and more. The link is in the description. And if you get stuck, message our Telegram bot. We'll walk you through for free, step by step.